Kindness is a behavioral response of compassionate actions that are selfless, or a mindset that places compassion for others before one's own interests. This was retrieved from the link below. The kind acts that are performed are supposed to be altruistic, which means that you do not do a kind act to get something in return. This means that you do the act because of the well-being of the other person and because you genuinely care about the other person, and not because you want a reward or you want to get something in return.
Performing acts of kindness not only benefits you, but it benefits others as well. So, once doing so, the hormone oxytocin is produced. And now, oxytocin is often referred to as the love hormone. And in fact, it lowers your blood pressure, improving your overall health. Additionally, serotonin gets secreted. It simulates its secretion, being kind. Thus, you feel more happy considering that serotonin is the feel good hormone. So, overall, performing acts of kindness simply makes you happy as well.
The first study was done by Klara and I in 2013, where they wanted to see how recalling an event where a person spent a certain amount of money on themselves or on someone else affected a person's happiness. The study involved 180 participants, and the independent variable was recalling an event where the participants spent around $20 on a certain person. There were three conditions of the independent variable. So in the first condition, that was 1/3 of the participants, they had to recall an event where they spent around $20 on themselves. The second condition, they had to recall an event where they spent around $20 on someone else and left a positive impact on that person. And the third condition, so the last third of the participants, had to recall an event where they spent around $20 on someone else but had no impact or no significant impact. After that, participants had to report their happiness, and that was self-reported. So the dependent variable was the level of happiness. And what the results showed was that participants who had to remember an event where they spent around $20 on someone else and left a positive impact on them, they reported feeling the happiest in comparison to the other participants. So we can see how actually spending money on someone else without asking anything in return makes us much more happier than when we spend the same amount of money on ourselves.
Atake et al. Also conducted a study about kindness. Their study had two aims. The first being, what is the relationship between kindness and subjective happiness? The second being, can people become happier by introducing a kindness intervention? So, in the first part of the study, participants had to answer the subjective happiness scale, which is basically a questionnaire in which measures daily happy and unhappy experiences, consisting of motivation, recognition, and behavior-related sections. So, for the second part of the study, then the participants had to count the number of kind acts that they performed every day, and they had to do this for 1 week. After which they then retook the same subjective happiness scale questionnaire, and participants' response to gratitude actually was also measured because it was found previously in previous studies that gratitude influences the perception of kindness. So it was found that happy people scored higher on their motivation to perform and recognize acts of kindness. And that happy people had more happy memories in their daily lives was increased simply by looking at your acts of kindness for 1 week, so by the intervention. And then it was also found that happy people became even more kind and grateful through the kindness intervention tasks.
We challenge you to do our random acts of kindness challenge and to perform one act of kindness every day for the next 30 days. We will link the challenge down below. Good luck! I did challenges number 4, 12, 14, 18, and 30. For number 4, I planted a fig tree and some flowers in my family, and it was fun to develop some gardening skills. For number 12, it was my sister's birthday during quarantine, so I baked her a cake, and in that way I also helped my parents so they don't have to do everything for her birthday. For number 14, I did some chores instead of my family members if they had a lot of stuff to do for work or for school. So, for example, I'd set up the table before lunch or put away and wash the dishes. For number 18, I did write a letter to my future self one time when I got really stressed about quarantine and everything, and it helped calm me down. So I wrote about the things I'm looking forward to after quarantine and what I will do when everything goes back to normal. And lastly, for number 30, I donated money and some clothes to an organization, which then gives the clothes and food to some families in need, especially now during quarantine time. And I did that with my mom, and it felt really nice to give back to other people that maybe cannot afford the food, especially now, or some that are in a risk group and cannot actually go and get the food themselves.
So the challenges that I did were challenges number 2, 3, 15, 22, and 28. So for challenge number 2, I decided to cook lunch for my family to help out my mom because she usually cooks lunch. I decided that this would be a nice thing to do because I thought that I would give my mom some time to rest and some more time in her day to do things that she loves to do. My mom was very happy when I did this, and she was very grateful, and in turn, this made me feel happy as well. Challenge number 3 was to listen intently to people because everybody is struggling with this new situation. So, this is, I think, something to listen to people, including myself. And I found it very nice to just sit back and be aware of this. And when I started to really listen to people intently and understand them more, and also put myself in their shoes, I just felt happier and they felt happier as well because I could offer my opinion and help them in their problems and similar. And this act of kindness was perhaps one of my amongst my favorites. For challenge 15, I smiled when I felt like scowling. This was actually also very fun and an interesting challenge because instead of scowling, I spent my time being happy, and this in turn made other people around me happy. Therefore, it was an act of kindness as well. For challenge number 22, I started a gratitude journal and I write in it every night before I go to bed, as well as in the mornings. It's honestly very fun and interesting, and it just puts me in a better mindset. And it also lets me see actually how lucky I am in my life with how many good things happen. And it really, helps me feel aware of my surroundings and just a lot of good things happen despite sometimes thinking that we live in a bad time. This is not exactly true all of the time, considering the fact that a lot of the times we are burdened with bad memories and sad memories instead of being aware of all of these happy things and good things that are happening to us. So having this journal really lets me sit down and think, and it comes bad. And it's a proven fact that people actually remember bad things more, better, and vividly than good things. So, yeah. Finally, challenge number 28 was to remind yourself that everyone struggles and has problems to deal with. This is a very important thing to do because it also helps us to in another person's shoes, and due to that helps us easier understand perhaps their motivations and their attitude towards a specific topic, and therefore it helps us also avoid conflict, which is definitely a good thing.